Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Chainsaw Matt here. We're going to be looking at an MS-180-C today. It won't turn over for some reason. The guy says that it's still under warranty, so we'll look into that. Be sure to subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Okay, so first thing I noticed, it will not turn over. It's stuck. We're going to pull the muffler off, see what the piston looks like real quick. So yeah, the piston is scored. Let's see if I can get it turned over here. So yeah, that piston is scored up pretty good. Not sure what happened yet. We're going to check the fuel next and see if it's straight gas or not. I still can't get the engine to turn over at all. Something's got hung up inside of there, I'm assuming. Yeah, there it goes a little bit. Not much. That's all it'll do. Let's check this fuel out. Oh no. That doesn't look too good. Might have a little bit of mix in it, but it's not 50 to 1, I don't think. I do have a little tester here. We put a few drops of oil, or sorry, a few drops of gas on here right in the middle and see what kind of residue it gets left behind. So I think it's safe to say that his gas was not mixed correctly. It's got a little bit of oil. This is our sample. Went a little crazy with it. The one in the middle is his. So it's got a little bit of oil, but not much. I guess we're going to give him the bad news and get a price together. See what it's going to cost to fix this thing. In the meantime, I'll pull it down and we'll do a leak down test on it, see if the crankcase is holding pressure. Okay, so we're going to take the carburetor off. We're using a T-handle 8mm. I'll put that part number in there if you want a cool little tool. To get the linkage off here, it's pretty easy. Pull the trigger, hold the lever on the carburetor, then let off and slide it over. Pretty simple. For the choke lever, you just bend this up manually right here. Pull the carb back just a little bit. Slide it right out. You do have to pop this choke control up and out of position to get the carb out. Don't know why they made it like that. Carbs off. We're going to put our little flange on here. This is to test the pressure. We got some spacers here for the studs. Okay, so we got our spacers on. Put our nuts on top. Yeah, I got it. Alright, so I think we're finished with the interruptions now. One thing you do want to make sure of when you do this, there's an impulse hole that leads to the bottom of the crankcase. That's actually what operates the diaphragm in the carburetor. We'll make sure that that's covered as well. Next, we're going to put our muffler back on without the plate. Take the plate off. And then we're going to take our sealer, just a simple rubber gasket, and put it between the muffler and the cylinder. So you want this covering the exhaust port completely. We're going to put our nuts back on the front of the muffler. What this is going to do is it's going to hold the pressure inside the cylinder, forcing it down to the crankcase to test the pressure. It should hold pressure and vacuum. If it doesn't, that means you've got an air leak, and that could possibly be what caused the failure. So here we've got just a simple pressure gauge, pressure tester. This one's been dropped several times. The gauge on it works, but it doesn't work as well as it should. Works for me though. So we're going to hook our hose up, connect our hose to the nipple here. Make sure your spark plug's in too. And from here, we're just going to pump it up. Should hold pressure. Looks like we're good. Yep, we are good there. So we're going to release it. Then we're going to go vacuum. And we're holding there as well. So this machine does not have an air leak. I'm gonna say it's from straight gas or not mixed properly, probably 100 to 1, probably even less oil than that. We're gonna pull the cylinder off of it just to make sure. You'll be able to tell by the way the intake side looks if it was straight gas or not. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take this thing apart. We're going to take the clutch off of it first. We've got a piston block for this one as well. I'll put the part number in there. This one works for pretty much all of the bigger spark plug machines that take the bigger NGK and Bosch plugs. There's a little needle cage there. Remove the spark plug. This does have what looks to be, I don't know what you'd call these, a little piece of plastic here. I usually use this end. Not sure what the difference is between the two. They're angled the same and everything, so the clutch is left-handed thread, so you'll turn it to the right to loosen it. Little leverage on here. The washer behind the clutch. And this is known as a worm gear. This is what turns your oil pump for the oiler. This part can be a little confusing to some. You have to remove the caps, the oil and fuel cap, to remove the side cover. I just took this in there just like that. Get those little anchors out of there. Got 4 screws, 3 long ones and then 1 short one that holds the brake handle. And then of course put your caps back on to keep from losing any bar and chain oil. Already emptied the gas, so I'm not worried about that, just to keep from losing it. Okay, next we're going to take the flywheel off. flywheel off. So from here, we're going to go ahead and remove the handle frame so that we can get to the engine bolts that actually hold the engine onto the plastic crankcase or plastic housing. Okay, so from here, you basically just push these little rubber bushings in through the handle. Usually use a flathead tool. And there's your handlebar. Now you've got 4 crank bolts down here on the bottom. We'll take those out next. Starting to wonder if this could possibly be a main bearing failure. The way it feels when you turn it over, it almost feels like it could be. So next thing, we're going to go ahead and take the coil off. Got a little plastic spacer behind the coil. By removing this, we get the wires and everything out of the way. This particular one has a little plastic ring around the inside here. Pretty simple, you just pull it back along with the boot, and the engine should slide out pretty easy. Alright, the engine's out. This gives you access to the oil pump as well. If you ever have to replace that little pump in there. This one's not the easiest to get to though. So let's pull our engine apart and see what other kind of damage we've got in here. So this is most definitely straight gas failure. You can tell just because there is no oil anywhere. You can see the exhaust side is very heavily damaged, pretty much all the way around. Maybe even on the intake side right there just a little bit. Looks like we may even have a issue with the main bearing. Yeah, this main bearing's coming apart too. Could be from the straight gas. It's pretty bad. I don't think it's vice versa. Could be wrong. The bearing could have been what took out the piston, but the lack of oil tells me that this machine was definitely not lubed up like it should have been. Bearings coming apart good there. A piece of plastic just fell out of it, part of the carrier. You can see the little balls in there rolling around. This side looks good. It's got a little bit of noise to it. One thing I did notice is that there is no metal shavings in here from the bearing, so it almost had to have been a straight gas failure, which led to the destruction of the top end and the bottom end. I'm going to contact Steel just to see if we can help this guy out, because the saw is fairly new. Sometimes they'll cover parts but not labor, just out of the goodness of their hearts to help the customer out. Be sure to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and also follow my Instagram. Thanks for watching.